Okay, hey. What's up, everybody? Give people a minute to jump in. People on TikTok have been waiting a while because we're getting everything dialed here. Got a couple different cameras. We got one for TikTok, one for everybody else. So nobody's left out. Here we go. Okay, Instagram. Awesome. We got Instagram going now. Great. A little water, a little liquid death. Who likes liquid death? Who out there's a fan? Yeah? All right. Woo! Here we go. Okay. So I'm so fired up to be with y'all today. I know it's Tuesday. What the heck? I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays normally. Well, yesterday, had an ADHD moment, but also something else came up, right? Something else came up that I needed to tend to, and it was really important. It was regarding my family, and we all have those moments where it's like, okay, I need to set aside what was going to happen, and this requires all my attention. So that's exactly what took place today. That's what took place yesterday. But here we are now doing this live. Let's go. Okay, so I'm pumped about this because if you remember, if you were here on Friday or you caught wind of it or you just took a look at the replay for a moment, maybe 10 seconds, you probably noticed that I was sharing all about my experience up at the Equip Prepare for Purpose conference up in Boise, Idaho. That was not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So we're going to hit play. We hit the pause button last Friday. And last Friday, we ended the stories with me just getting a blazer. I had just gotten a fresh blazer. I was stoked. I was stoked because, as you heard last week, it shouldn't have happened. It's ridiculous that it even did work out, but I got it. Okay, so resume. I go to sleep Sunday night. I wake up Monday. All right, and now I'm fully stepping into my role as Ross emcee extraordinaire, ready to bring the energy, ready to bring the fun. So that's what I do. I basically step into that role, right? I'm introducing the speakers. I'm getting people excited. We're turning on like club type music, okay? Like the music that you normally would listen to at like a massive party. Well, that's the music we're turning on to get people hyped. Now, this group was not necessarily the people you would figure to find at the club getting crazy, right? Tearing up the dance floor. So it took someone else to kind of raise the roof. So that's what I did. Like I just gave them all my energy. I'm running around, I'm dancing, I'm high-fiving people. I'm just being myself. Here's what's so cool about this moment is when I was just being myself in that MC role, I was having fun. I was having fun. I wasn't stressed. I was enjoying every minute. It didn't feel like work. It felt like play. It felt like someone just being like, hey man, no rules. You just be you. And by being myself and just who I am in the most authentic way, I started receiving all this feedback. All the other speakers were so kind in telling me, yo, like the way you're energizing this group, the way you did that chair thing. I stepped on a chair and tipped over. I've done it at weddings and stuff before. It's not that hard to do, but it always looks more impressive than it actually is. It was a crowd pleaser. And I got people in a circle, and I got people standing on their chairs, clapping, even though some people can feel like, oh my gosh, this is against the rules. I was encouraging it. I was encouraging people to step outside their comfort zone and to get into the moment, get lost in the moment. And that's what happened. So I'm getting all this feedback from the speakers being like, man, dude, you should do this more often. Like, I've never seen anybody create this kind of energy amongst a crowd like this. Like, what you're doing is the impossible. Like, what the heck? It's awesome. Keep it going. So here's the point. If you have ADHD, recognize that your ADHD brain can be a superpower in dynamic, spontaneous environments where quick thinking and this high, intense, passionate energy can transform what to most of the world seems like a huge challenge. Seems like something they would never do. Something that you could never pay them enough to do or convince them enough to do. Get up on a stage in a huge room of people on a microphone and say and do the right things and just like dance around and be silly. You have the ability to embrace those moments and transform those seeming challenges into opportunities where you can soar, where you can surprise people and surprise yourself and learn about what you were made for, right? I know some of you just heard that and you're thinking, I want to know what I'm made for. Listen, come to my website, all right? Get on my email list. Let's work together. I would love to work with you as a coach to help you figure out what you're made for. Help you pinpoint that, help you start leaning into those things. So here's my question for you to reflect on. Now, maybe you journal, maybe you don't. Just so you know, journaling, it's something that y'all should try. All right, I go through seasons of journaling and not. I'm still trying to get really consistent at it. But here's the thing, if you're consistent about journaling, it actually does these amazing things to your brain. Journaling multiple days a week for just like as little as 10 minutes has actually been shown, studies have proven it lowers your anxiety significantly. It lowers your stress levels dramatically. Journaling does all that. Let's check it out. So here's a question for your journaling, which you can start practicing today. How have you leveraged your ADHD traits and quirks to turn a really challenging, difficult situation into a fun and engaging experience for everybody who is involved, right? Not just yourself, but everyone else. So write that down. How have you leveraged your ADHD traits to turn a challenging situation? Again, maybe it wasn't a challenge to you. Maybe you were excited about it, but it was a challenge to most of the world. How did you use your ADHD traits and turn it into a fun and engaging experience? Fun for you, engaging for you, and vice versa for everyone else. Okay, so now moving on here. So we're kind of jumping around a little bit. So when I arrived actually on Sunday for this event, I get to the airport, I'm getting my bag, and Lisa Bingley, she's the queen. She put on this event. This is her show, and she's like, "Hey, I think Oliver was on your plane." So, oh yeah, awesome. Like, dude, he's got that beautiful, like, super gorgeous, sexy red hair. I should be able to find him pretty quick. And she's like, oh, just remember, like, just, we want to make sure that he likes us. I was like, oh, don't worry. We're going to be fast friends. So I find Oliver. He's so rad. He's one of the speakers who came from Australia. He's a Google Ads expert, one of the leading experts in the world. And yeah, we meet, we share an Uber to the venue, and I just quickly tear down any barriers that he's got, right? This is what we do as ADHDers. If you have ADHD, you are so good, you're likely so good at reading the moment, at assessing people's body language, at knowing the right things to say. And we love to share. So we often come across as really vulnerable and authentic because a lot of us are just, we're an open book. Like, we'll tell you about everything. And it helps other people disarm. It helps other people lower the walls that we automatically put up as human beings when we meet new people, right? We're assessing, can I trust them? Like, is this a safe person? And if you have ADHD, usually you're the one that busts in a room and you're like, yeah, it's safe. Yeah, I trust you. Yes, I don't know any of you, but you all are about to be amazing friends. And I can't wait. Like that's the vibe and energy that I bring. So we get in the Uber, we're getting to know each other. And Oliver looks at me and he goes, so this energy that you have how long have you had this energy? All your life? I love the question because it's a great one. Yeah, I've been this way all my life. But as I've gotten older, my self-awareness has grown and my understanding of who I am has grown, and I've embraced all of me, which means I've embraced my ADHD. Because of that, I'm actually leaning more into my energy than ever before in my entire life. Because only in recent years have I actually started hearing the things that I've probably heard my whole life and I brushed it off and I didn't take it in. But I've started listening to the voices that are like, man, I love your energy. Like your energy it's something I want more of. I want to be around it all the time. And I've begun to learn that unlike in school, when my energy was not a great thing, it was disruptive, it was too much, I was too much, I was over the top, I was too loud, I talked too much. It was not a positive. But as we age, let's just get real. A lot of us look back on our lives in our 20s, in high school, in college, and we're like, man, those are the good old days. Why were those the good old days? Because we often let life get boring. We get in our routines, we get in our ruts, we go to the same job, we do the same things, we eat at the same restaurants, and we don't have novelty. We're not creating new experiences. We're not meeting new people. We're not making new friendships. We're not traveling to new places. Like we're not trying new things. We're not stretching our own abilities. We're just getting stuck and we're staying where we're comfortable. Because will you agree, as you get older, the risks magnify, right? That's why everyone says, man, like, I wish I enjoyed being a kid more than I actually did at the time. Because you know now that when you were a kid, you wanted more than anything to be an adult so you could have freedom. But we all know with that freedom comes a whole lot of extra responsibilities and risks and people that are relying on you and big decisions that can lead to huge outcomes, positive or negative. But if you have an ADHD brain, your ADHD means that because of your lack of dopamine, you're always seeking novelty. So people often really enjoy being around you and your ADHD because you are always thinking like, man, I'm gonna try this new thing on the menu. Other people are like, wow, like really? I just have the same thing every time. Like, I don't want to screw up a good thing. Whereas you're thinking, man, what am I missing? If I don't try that, maybe it'll become my new favorite thing. Like we love as ADHDers to splash more colors on the canvas of life. And that is intoxicating. That is attractive. That's a spirit and an energy and an aliveness that others want more of. Others sense that has gone dormant in their own life long ago. And so people are looking for that. So just know that you may get discouraged or frustrated with your ADHD brain, but this is a benefit. You're novelty seeking. You're always looking for the new, right? Like this is a good thing. So I digress. But here's the point of meeting Oliver at the airport. I'd never met him before, and I'm like, let's go. All right. Like, excited to freaking ride an Uber with him. Some people will go, oh my gosh, that sounds like a nightmare. I don't want to be stuck in an Uber with someone I don't know. What do I say? What if like he wants to have conversation and I don't? Or what if I don't know what to ask? For a lot of you with ADHD out there, you probably don't worry about those things very much, right? You just dive in. New people, a new experience in an Uber ride with someone you've never met, sign me up, right? You're thinking, sign me up. So here's the point. ADHD often enhances our ability to be profoundly authentic and vulnerable, right? That's something that we are hearing all over the place. That is something that if you at all if you're an online creator and you're creating content in whatever capacity, you know that others want it to stay authentic. They want it to feel real. They want to know that you are not presenting a facade, but you're presenting your real self. And ADHDers, we often have a hard time not being ourselves. And we're usually less ourselves when we're worried about what other people think. We're stressed that we're too much. We're trying to blend in and be like everyone else instead of standing out and being who we were created to be. So, with that authenticity and vulnerability, you can pave the way for rapid and meaningful connections. Yeah, yes. It's so cool. And I know some of you right now on the other end are thinking, gosh, yeah. Write this down. Like you should be writing these things down, right? If you're just passively listening, which we often do on social media, you're not learning. Because the way our brains work, any brain, ADHD or not, your brain does not retain most information. Because if we retained all information that's coming at us all the time, we would literally be paralyzed. Our brains would be overloaded. We wouldn't be able to function. This is true, 100%. So the way to learn, if you want to implant any of these ideas or breakthroughs or insights that you're hearing, you got to write it down, right? I'm not a writer. My writing, I've been told, looks like a serial killer. I know. Whoa, that's weird, right? So weird. Someone's told me that. It's really ugly. It's really terrible writing. Looks like I'm really stressed or I'm trying to hurry up. It's awful. So I don't write. I type. So maybe you got to type it down. Just note it down, take it down, capture it, because that is how your brain actually retains the information. Because if you're thinking, you're going to remember something that you're listening to and you're loving it. You're like, oh, this is so good. I'm learning so much. I bet you any amount of money, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning in about 24 to 36 hours, you'll have forgotten most of it. Yeah. I know. Kind of discouraging, right? Makes you wonder, like, why we just watch anything. Entertainment's one thing, but if you're watching to hopefully learn, write some things down. Okay, so here's another question to write down related to that story of Oliver and how we as ADHDers enhance our ability to be profoundly authentic and vulnerable, which paves the way for rapid and meaningful connection with other people. So here's the question to journal and reflect on. Can you think of a time when your natural openness, like your desire to share, your desire to just keep it real, even though that can sometimes get you in trouble, can you think of a time when your natural openness and vulnerability and authenticity helped you create a significant connection unexpectedly? Woo-hoo-hoo! Man, that's a good question. I'm excited to reflect and journal on that one later. So write that down. All right. We continue here. So day one was me emceeing, right? I'm in my element, having the time of my life, getting people energized. And at one point, right, like the crowd had been sitting for a long time, listening to some awesome speakers, but you got to stand up. You got to move your body, or your brain is not going to be optimized. So I'm getting everyone standing up. We're pumping the music, right? And I'm running around. I'm getting people hyped, right? Pulling them together. Like people that do not want to be moving, I'm grabbing their hands and I'm helping them stand up like I'm inviting them to the dance floor. That's right. That's right. And all of a sudden you'll see people like hiding. And then, man, they can't hide. When you reach out your hand, you're like, come on, come on. And then they feel invited. They feel like, oh, I belong. And you see it happen in an instant. Their spirit changes, their demeanor is transformed, and they're smiling. And they're a little bit more like open to like what's happening in the moment. That is the power of a great MC and great music and an amazing event like Lisa Bingley put on. So, thinking about me jumping around, clapping, having all the energy, and I'm sweating, okay? I'm still human. I'm sweating a lot. This is the point though. Remember this, ADHDers, our spontaneity, like our what many would call our courageous energy, it can be pivotal in transforming group dynamics and creating memorable experiences for everybody involved. Okay, don't forget that, right? Your spontaneity. You have so much happening in your head if you have ADHD that it can frustrate the heck out of you, especially when you're trying to focus on something that's really boring and you don't want to do. But there are a lot of other times where that's what allows you to be spontaneous. Your ADHD brain is what allows you to have this random idea that people are like, how did you think of that? It's your ADHD brain feeding you just an endless fountain of thoughts, of insights. It's making connections. It's too much sometimes. But in other moments, it sets you ablaze, baby. You stand out in the best way. So don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on your spontaneity and your contagious energy. Okay? So here's the question to write down for journaling, reflection, and reflection later. How has your energy as someone with ADHD positively affected a group or an environment that you were a part of? So think recent. Think in the last month. How has your energy or your spontaneous ADHD brain, how has it positively affected a group or environment that you were a part of? Write it down. Take note, okay? This is your life we're talking about. You matter. These insights, these breakthroughs, grab them and make sure that you don't lose them or forget them. Okay, here we go. So this is a long live today. We got a lot of fun stories, a lot of things to share. So I'll be chopping this up, sharing bits of it out for all you that aren't tuning in right now because you're working hard. It's all good. Respect. All right. So day one closes. It's been a great day. I didn't speak. I was just doing my MC thing. Well, then we all go to dinner. We go to dinner. Lisa hosts dinner with everybody. And while we're at dinner, I'm getting to know the speakers. I'm just feeling so grateful. Do you ever have those moments where you're in an environment with others and the people that you're with, you know, just by proximity, just by listening to them and hearing about their life experiences, you know that you're being elevated. Right? Your knowledge is being upgraded, right? Those moments are awesome. I love those moments. And that's what that dinner was about. Well, going to bed, I probably should have gotten a good night's sleep. I actually did not get a very good night's sleep. Oh, I got to digress just for a moment. So when I went to bed on Sunday night before the first day of the event, I didn't get great sleep. Does that ever happen to you when you're traveling and when you're outside your own house, you're not in your bed, like the sheets were like scratchy, like the room was awesome. I got upgraded to a suite. It was pretty awesome, but the sheets, like they were just scratchy, man. Ooh, hate that, right? Who's with me? Drop in the comments. You're like, I hate scratchy sheets. So I didn't get great sleep. And my Aura ring told me the next morning, it's like, yo. you are not ready. Like basically it's like, I don't know what happened last night, Ross, but you got terrible sleep and you're not ready for anything too intense today. So like take it easy. Like you're not ready for anything high performance. Basically is what it was saying. Well, that's not gonna work. Keep in mind, I haven't gotten a message like that on my Aura Ring in many months. So worst timing possible. Yet I didn't take it in. I didn't let that piece of information become the way that I was going to believe that I would show up that day. So I pushed it aside and I said, well, Aura Ring, you're wrong. I'm going to bring the energy. I'm going to bring the joy. I'm going to bring the positivity. And I am going to give this audience, I'm going to give these people exactly what they came for: transformation, impact, and an unforgettable day. And I absolutely did. Nobody would have guessed that my Aura Ring told me that. So that just shows you, right, that you can take information and you can choose. Is this information that I want to internalize and believe about myself, about what I'm up against, or do I want to reframe? It's powerful when you can reframe and you can remember that when you change the way that you think, you change the way you feel every single time. Man, I could recommend a book on that. That is game-changing that I'm reading right now. So hopefully someone will remind me to put that in the comments. It's transformative. Okay, so back to the story I was sharing. This is so ADHD, just hopping from here to there. I know if you're ADHD out there, you're like, oh, it's all good, Ross. I'm tracking with you, man. My brain works the same way. So it's the end of day one. All the speakers are going to bed. I should be going to sleep. And I don't, right? I get terrible sleep. And before going to bed, I am freaking out about my talk. Again, I don't feel prepared. You've probably heard me share this before. I don't feel prepared. Like I haven't even run through my talk one time. I haven't like actually rehearsed it at all. And part of that is because in the past, as I've shared before, normally I'd memorize a talk. And I realized I had to level up, that actually is a crutch that I didn't want to lean on this time. I know that when I've memorized talks in the past, it actually stifles my greatness more than it unleashes it. So I'm crossing things out from my notes, like I'm reading through it and I'm rewording things, like I'm making edits that honestly probably make no difference at this stage in the game. I am less than 12 hours away from being on stage, giving my talk, and I'm just like tearing things up, putting new things in. That is literally the spell of doom for any speaker, is changing things up and making edits all the way up to the moment you take the stage. And that's exactly what I was doing. So I'm thinking all these thoughts in my head that weren't serving me. Like, man, Ross, like, dude, you've totally blown this opportunity. Like, Lisa's brought in the video team that does Tony Robbins events to record this, and it's gonna be awful. I'm gonna go blank. I'm gonna forget what I was wanting to share in the first place. Gosh, like Ross, like, why did you wait till last minute? Why do you always do this? Oh my gosh. Like, you're gonna let Lisa down. Like, everyone's just gonna be shocked and they're gonna be embarrassed for you. I'm thinking all these awful things. So I wake up and I'm late. I'm late. Not surprising, right? I'm trying to literally adjust things the morning of, right? Like I'm eating breakfast. I like didn't even have my clothes picked out yet. And I'm deciding to do a different introduction. I'm like, okay, let's trash that intro and let's move this thing up to the intro. I mean, I'm making monumental shifts in my talk. Never a good thing. Yet, I'm doing it. I'm doing all the things, and it's making me stress and freak out even more. So, and I realize I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late to the event, and I'm the MC. So Lisa's texting me. She's like, where are you? By the way, did you send me your slides? I don't have your slides. I text her back. I'm like, no, I haven't sent you my slides. They're coming. I hadn't sent her my slides because I was making all these edits still last minute. And on top of that, I had actually, I hadn't even shared with her the 12-minute long video that I was going to show at the beginning of my talk. So now I'm in my hotel room, freaking out. I'm trying to get out the door. And I realize, oh gosh, I don't think I can use this video. This isn't my video. This is a video that's super inspiring. And I had built my whole talk around this video. And it was, to me, this anchor piece of my entire talk. And now I'm recognizing I can't show it. It's not mine. I don't have the rights to show this video. So now I'm thinking, wow, Ross, you are totally screwed. You're screwed. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll just do it anyway. I'll just share the video. Better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. Sometimes I really lean on that, maybe too much. So I am rushing out the door of my hotel room to get to the venue. And I'm about 5, 7, 8 minutes, maybe close to 10 minutes late. And I get in the elevator with another speaker from the event. Her name's Emily. And she sees me and she's like, hey, Ross, good morning. How are you? I'm thinking in my head, I'm awful. I'm terrible. This is like worst moment ever. I don't say that. I'm like, oh, I'm doing all right. Just got a lot on my mind and I'm running a little late. She's like, oh yeah, you are. She's like, don't worry. I can't start the event without the MC. I'm like, yeah. Did you have to remind me of that? So, and I'm sweating. And I'm not sweating because I've been working out or I've been sprinting back and forth in the hallway. I'm sweating because my nervous system, like, it's overloaded. I am stressed. I am freaking out. I am not calm. I'm not at peace. So I take off to the event. So it's outside around the corner. I get there and Lisa Bingley, putting on the event, my friend, she's so understanding. I'm like, I'm so sorry. She's like, what happened? I'm like, it was just, best way to describe it, it was an awful ADHD typical morning. I'm so sorry. I said, but hey, Brendan Burchard likes to be fashionably late for his events sometimes. He's often like, hey, we're going to start at this time, have a good lunch, and then often it doesn't start right on time. So we were cool. We moved past that. And the first speaker, Oliver, my Uber friend, he hits the stage. So he's on the stage, and I'm backstage the whole time, reviewing my talk, freaking out, right? Like, I'm reviewing my talk, hoping I'm going to feel more confident for some reason, even though I'm cramming last minute. And it's not really helping. And at one point, my friend Lisa Bingley comes back, and she goes, hey, how you feeling? I'm like, truthfully, not great. It's like, I'm super nervous. I'm stressed. And the intro that was going to be my anchor, I'm worried that I can't show the video. She's like, what video is it? So I describe it to her. We had both seen the video at Brendan Burchard's Growth Day live event in Los Angeles months prior. Ed Milet actually showed this video. That's where I saw it for the first time. And I was so moved by it. And Lisa's like, yeah, you can't show it. Like, it's not yours. You don't have the rights. You can't. You got to toss it out. You got to go with something else. Toss it out? I'm supposed to take the stage in like 30 minutes? What do you mean toss it out? I didn't respond that way. I'm thinking that way inside. I was like, okay, well, I did have this other intro. It's this funny story about an airplane, and it's really like, it should get people laughing. It's lighthearted before we like dive deep. But yeah, I wasn't planning on doing that. She's like, that's what you need to do. Go with that. Ross, they want to hear from you. They want to hear your voice. They want to hear your stories, your insights. You don't need the video. Now my magnitude of stress is just quadrupled. Like, it's through the roof. So I'm backstage, getting ready to take the stage. I'm getting my instrument loose. I'm jumping up and down. I'm doing some qigong, right? Getting ready. and I'm not feeling much better. But it's happening. Lisa's getting ready to introduce me. And at that moment, I just think to myself, I think, Lord, I pray. I go, God, I need you right now more than ever before. Lord, I need you to carry me through this moment because I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I am painfully aware that I'm not enough. My confidence isn't enough. My certainty is not enough. My prep isn't enough. And I don't believe my skills enough to actually carry me through this moment and help me deliver exactly what I've hoped for 6+ months to deliver in this moment. I need you, Lord. Speak through me. God, I need you right now more than ever before. And I said, God, I acknowledge right now that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And I took the stage. And I started going. I got my notes with my teaching points on monitors that were below, which is amazing. Amazing. Let me just tell you, for a speaker to have those notes below. But just my teaching points pretty much. And everything else was just off the cuff. I started sharing the stories. And what do you know? It went okay. It went better than okay. I was having fun. I felt in flow. I was pausing like I wanted to do, right? To really like let the impact sink in of the story and the moments. And I got off the stage and I could not believe how well it had just gone. And you know when you're feeling something, you're feeling it inside you, and you can choose to ignore it or fully feel the emotions. Well, I love getting in my feels, and I just fully felt all my emotions in that moment. And I started crying. I sit down backstage, I'm weeping. No one's around. And it's a cry of joy and relief and gratitude because I knew in that moment that what had just occurred should not have happened. It shouldn't have happened. My prep, my confidence, my certainty, none of it added up to what I was able to bring and deliver to that room. And I knew in that moment that God had directly answered my prayer. It was insanely powerful. I said, God, thank you so much. And I was also so full of joy and I was proud. And I had such clarity because I also realized that, whoa, this is one of the things I was made for. Like, have you had those moments? If you have ADHD, have you had those moments where you often are feeling like you're not made to like succeed and thrive in this neurotypical world? But you have those glimmers, you have those moments where you know without a shadow of a doubt that you should be doing more of that because it was almost effortless. You were just being yourself. And other people are giving you positive feedback so you know that you crushed it, right? Like I got off that stage and I was like, I'm excited for feedback. I know there's a ton of things I missed. Like there's a ton of things I can improve, but I knew that based on what I thought I would deliver, I crushed it. Like I conquered that mountain. And I went to connect with the other speakers and they could tell I've been crying, which was kind of great because they give me a big hug and it creates this vulnerable moment, right? When people can see that you are being real, that you're not holding back, then they also know that they can do the same. And that creates moments of conversation and connection that you cannot forget and that can really alter the course of your entire life. Some of those conversations happened. They were just pouring into me and they were encouraging me. They're like, dude, you did so great. You did so great. Congratulations. And I was able to share with them everything that had transpired, how stressed and unprepared I felt, and yet what I was able to do. And I recognized another thing in that moment, that We need to step aside way more often. ADHDers out there, ADHD brains, listen up. You need to make more room for others, including God himself, to give you exactly the things that you do not possess on your own, right? I need to step aside more often and let God be God, because I'm not him. That moment proved that. I need to step aside more often and step aside, kick my ego to the side, and ask for help. We all need to take more moments to step aside and look for the people, the resources, the support, the learning, the books, the courses, the mentors. There's so much outside of us that can really be the difference between, like, man, that didn't go so great, versus, whoa, I just surprised myself, and I just had a moment of recognizing what I'm made for. How many of you want to have more of those moments? Yes, lock in, okay? Listen, let's get connected. Go to my website, rosslufbrewer.com, heroicadhd.com. Get on my email list. If you're interested in working together, let's get on a free strategy coaching call. Hit me up, right? We can take you from where you are to a place you never imagined that you could be, right? Okay, so there's a little challenge there. There's a call to action, okay? What have you got to lose? All right, so a couple points there I just want to zero in on. When I was backstage there, feeling so overwhelmed, underprepared for my talk, right, and praying and experiencing that transformative moment from the stage, here's what you need to remember. ADHDers, ADHD brains, listen up, write this down. Your ADHD can make you feel perpetually unprepared. We often feel so unprepared, so not ready, so behind the eight ball. That's not news to you. But your ADHD also can teach you to rely on deeper strengths. It can also teach you that sometimes you need to look to a higher power. You need to look to other people, to things outside yourself, in order to find your flow, in order to grab hold of that win that feels so elusive. Okay? Write these things down. And here's the question I want you to capture. Have you ever found unexpected strength within yourself during a high pressure moment that honestly made you rethink all your capabilities, all your potential, right? Have you ever had one of those, I'm made for this type of moment? Dig deep. Dig deep. Pause this right now. If you're live, right, you can't do that. But if you're watching the replay, like most of you probably are, pause this and capture those insights, right? Because they could be the next clue to the direction you need to go. Don't sleep on that. You owe it to yourself. And then the other thing here, I went out on stage and I was feeling so unprepared. Last minute changes to my talk. I was ripping things out, I was putting things back in, doing all the things that any experienced speaker would say, don't do that. Don't do any of that. If you want to literally spell your doom, don't do that. I did all those things. Here's what you need to remember. If you have ADHD, your ADHD brain, it can make us prone to these last minute moments of like hustling and stressing and feeling like you're flying by the seat of your pants. Yet it also can completely equip us with that resilience to adapt swiftly and creatively under all kinds of pressure. Yeah. So I'll say it again. Your ADHD brain, yeah, it makes us prone to the last feeling and stress and feeling scattered and feeling like we are literally flying by the seat of our pants. But it also equips us with this resilience that you can't really explain. But it's this crazy resilience it's hardwired into us because of everything that we've struggled through, everything we've overcome, everything, the deck that's been stacked against us. That resilience can allow you to adapt so swiftly and creatively under pressures that most people cannot imagine. That's you. That's you and your ADHD and what you're capable of. Let's go. And here's the question to reflect on, add into your journal. When has a last minute change due to your ADHD brain turned out to be a blessing in disguise for you and maybe the entire direction of your life? I'll say that again. When was the last time when start over. When has a last minute change due to your ADHD turned out to be a blessing in disguise for you and maybe the entire direction of your life? So good. Capture those thoughts, pause this, write those things down. If you don't want to forget, write it down. Come on, let's go. All right, man. Woo, man, I'm glad it's been recorded because there is so much fire in here, so much goodness. All right, so here we go. I got all my notes here. I'm like, okay, where are we going next? All right. Here is the last, I think this is the last thing I'm going to share today. So when I was just reflecting on this whole event, and man, getting up there, I mean, I was totally in my element as an MC. I was thriving. I was having so much fun. And speaking on the stage, I was more unprepared and stressed and distracted and overwhelmed than you can imagine. Yet, I came out and conquered because I stepped aside and relied on a higher power. For me, that's God. Like, man, I love Jesus Christ. I believe in God the Father. And he absolutely carried me through that moment. So I was just reflecting on all that. And I was just like, wow, these parts of me that in most other jobs, in most other places in our neurotypical world, my energy, my scattered brain, as some would call it, or my spontaneous mind with all these creative ideas, right? My energy that's over the top, it's too much. Or my energy that's just right to lift an entire room with inspiration, with optimism, to inject people with hope, to inject people with a feeling that wow, maybe I really can do this. To start believing in something they didn't even think was possible before entering that room. That's what my ADHD can do. That's what the gifts of an ADHD brain can bring for you, for others. It was a moment of massive clarity and purpose. That event, that was an inflection point. That was a demarcation line. Because no longer will I ever hit the stage in the future and doubt myself as much as I was doubting myself and unsure of myself in that moment before I hit the stage for my talk. And I'm so grateful for that. Because let me just tell you, I wouldn't want to hit the stage feeling as low and overwhelmed and stressed as I was feeling. A little stress, a little overwhelmed is okay, because that allows your body and your brain and everything inside you to show up. But I'm so eternally grateful for the fact that I will never doubt myself that much again before I hit the stage, because God gave me the most incredible gift. He helped me recognize with absolute clarity, Ross, not only have I been preparing you for this, but you were made for moments just like this. And I'm going to prove it to you. And he did. So ask yourself right now, right? What glimpses have you had of your own brilliance? What glimpses have you had before of things that came so natural to you that it shocked you and it surprised everyone else, and everyone else was like, wow, how'd you do that? Wow, I don't know, I was just being myself. Think about those moments of clarity you've had and that you've experienced. Those moments of clarity where you embraced parts of your ADHD as a gift. As like you embrace some of those traits that honestly have worked against you for so much of your life. But in these moments I'm referring to, you recognized, whoa, ADHD may bring me a lot of challenges, but I wouldn't trade this brain for anything because the gifts are so profoundly amazing when they're used in the right context, in the right environment, and around the right people who also see your gifts, who also see your God-given abilities. And they are totally cool with you sharing those things with them and everyone else. I know you're having some insights. I know you're having some breakthroughs. Write it down. Jot it down, even if it's just a word. Even if you're just kind of like doodling. Capture it. If you want to remember it, capture it. Please, for yourself, do that. Okay, let's see. We talked about that. Let's see. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Great. Pretty much hit everything. I'll just add one little bonus. Happened today. It's part of the reason why I didn't do my live at 12:15 like I normally do on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I did at 1:15 today because I woke up, came into my yard pod, and there was a small ant invasion on my desk. Hate ants, okay? Who's with me, right? Drop in the comments, raise your hand if you're like, I hate ants too, right? They're just annoying, right? And you find ants in your space and you start feeling like they're everywhere, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I think there's one right here, right here. It's partly in your head, partly not. So I went on a 2-hour hyper-focus mission. I removed everything I could out of my office and vacuumed it, incessantly. And then I took the ant spray, sprayed it all around the edge, sprayed it around the outside. Took a couple hours to do all that. Move everything back in. That was hyper-focus. If you have ADHD, that was me hyper-focusing on, okay, problem, the ants are in my space. I'm not going to be able to focus or concentrate without taking care of this. If you have ADHD, you know that in those moments, you have them. You have them all the time where you divert from the plan and you hyper-focus like nobody's business to take care of something from start to finish. My wife often refers to it as me almost like I'm on some type of illegal drug, which is not the case, but that's what it seems like because we can hyper focus in a way where it's like, get out of my way. I'm doing this. I'm making this happen. And that's exactly what happened this morning. So I just want to add that because if you have those moments, don't beat yourself up. Don't tear yourself down. Don't get angry because the ants interrupted your day. Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, it's annoying. But think of what you got to do. Your hyper-focus and your ADHD brain just allowed you to completely neutralize, take care of that situation, and get it out of your way. That's a gift. That's your ADHD at work. So I hope you enjoyed this live. I hope to see you again on another one. I'll be back tomorrow around 12:15, Friday around 12:15. And please check out my website, right? If you're feeling this energy, if you want to stay connected, I would love to keep bringing you some goodness and some great tips and ways that you can harness your ADHD, maximize your potential, and start to figure out, what am I made for? start thriving together, we can do just that. We can make that happen for you. So if you're interested in working with me as a coach, check out the links on my webpage, rossloofbro.com or heroicadhd.com. You'll see them there. There is a little coaching form you got to fill out because, hey, I want some information and I want to know, like, are you actually ready to do the work and take the action to potentially transform your life? That free strategy session, it's free, all right? But you're only going to get what you want out of it if you put the work in up front. So that's why there's that coaching form you got to fill out in order to actually get on that call. It's totally free and would love to connect with you, get to know you, and help lift you to a place that you never imagined you could reach on your own. Okay, see you later. Super excited to be with you tomorrow and talk to you then. Bye.